Welcome to night 4 of the 12 Days of Halloween. Tonight, when a woman moves into her boyfriend's apartment, only to find him missing, and the unit completely cleaned out and deserted, his abandoned smartphone leads her to some nightmarish discoveries. In Ghoster, that's the book I'm reviewing on tonight's episode. Hello everyone, Thomas here, your host as always. Thank you for joining me. By now, we have heard all the cautionary tales we probably need to hear about the supposed cultural hazards of ubiquitous modern technology, and frankly, it's kind of starting to sound like a bunch of neo-Luddite hysteria, mistaking itself for meaningful commentary. Yeah. Social media is an addictive narcotic, smartphones are turning us into zombies, and being extremely online all the time is killing our ability to forge real human connection. But I look around me and, well, perhaps I don't run in the right circles, but is all of that really true? Sure. Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all the rest of them carry with them an inescapable superficiality, especially when they give rise to such vapid phenomena as influencer culture and the pursuit of unearned fame. In fact, with the entire Cambridge Analytica scandal, Facebook has proven itself actively dangerous. Once upon a time, earning global acclaim required actual achievements, like climbing Mount Everest without dying, or sailing across the Pacific Ocean all by yourself. Nowadays, it's all about likes and followers, isn't it? Or is it? That's a thing. But for the vast majority of us, our phones are part of our lives, but it's just a tad dramatic to suggest they're anything like demons possessing our souls. Most of us forge perfectly normal real-world friendships, and yes, most of those friends will be folks we meet online first. And if you see that person on the bus with their eyes glued to their screen, how do you know they're not reading a great work of literature, or checking the news, or listening to life-affirming music, or confirming a medical appointment, or literally anything else? What's the justification for being so technophobic that your default assumption is that they're doing something vapid and mindless? Still, if you want to write a story thumping the theme smartphones are the devil, go right ahead. I might even enjoy it as a story, provided it isn't ridiculously silly. Which brings us to Jason Arnopp's Ghoster, a compulsively readable horror thriller that's also ridiculously silly. Kate Collins is a paramedic from Leeds who super likes a hot guy on Tinder named Scott, only to hear nothing back, as such things often go. Months later, she's attending this New Age retreat, only to see Scott there. They immediately strike up a strong flirtation, which, despite Kate's nearly pathological levels of anxiety and low self-esteem, constantly needling her that she isn't good enough, soon blossoms into a relationship, serious enough for Scott to ask Kate to move into his upscale flat in Brighton. The day she arrives is the day everything starts going to hell. Scott's apartment is empty, as in truly empty, with no note or any sign of where Scott might have gone, without so much as a single item of furniture or even a face cloth in the bathroom, and the power is cut off. Kate, whose addiction to social media became so all-consuming it caused real problems with her job, has thrown away her old smartphone and replaced it with a reliable old Nokia brick. But there is one item of Scott's that is still on the premises: his smartphone. Waffling between rage that she's been ghosted in the worst possible way and panic that some horrible fate might have befallen Scott, Kate eventually unlocks the phone and starts learning some things she never knew about the man whom she had so enthusiastically planned to spend her life with. But that's only the beginning. The book's opening chapters are actually terrific, hooking you into the mystery effortlessly. Arnopp provides convincing reasons why Kate doesn't just say screw this guy and turn around for home. She's already committed to a new paramedic job in Brighton, her old position back in Leeds has been filled, and her old flat has already been re-rented, so she's stuck and has to make the best of it. But even as Arnopp adds more and more layers to his mystery, and the whole thing remains a compelling read, I began to have some serious gripes. And they start with Kate, a character who starts the story with an appealing sense of self-deprecating humor, but whose whiny insecurities and lack of impulse control make her less and less likable as the plot spins along. Arnopp's introduction of supernatural elements into the story only gives Kate more opportunities to act infuriatingly stupid. After terrifying ghostly apparitions show up, and Kate becomes more convinced Scott may have been involved in some horrific deeds, you'll find yourself yelling at her the same way you yell at every dumb white girl in a horror movie. Why the hell are you still staying in the apartment? I mean, that's fine if she has no money for a deposit on her own place, but if I've spent an entire night huddled in a pitch-black bathroom because some hellish specter came through the door at me, I'm finding a cheap-ass motel or a hostel or even a fucking park bench for the next several nights at least. Kate's obsession with finding out Scott's fate reaches such unhealthy levels that her best friend from Leeds, Izzy, comes down to act as a kind of reader surrogate, dressing Kate down for how crazy she's acting, while remaining supportive even as Kate makes more rash and foolish decisions in pursuit of answers. The question was always nagging at me. If Kate's truly concerned that Scott has met a bad end, why not just go to the police? Instead of playing detective on her own and jeopardizing not just her job, but her own safety and Izzy's. Show them all the weird evidence that's turned up on Scott's phone, and there are some truly disturbing things on there. Let them deal with it. I suppose the routine answer that we wouldn't have a story if she did that applies here. So it is that Ghoster ends up with what Damon Knight defined as the idiot plot, a story that cannot work unless the principal characters behave like idiots. Finally, even though the book is quite well paced for 450 pages, it's still overlong, culminating in some underwhelming revelations and a climax that just raises more questions than it answers. It's a long slog to make readers endure, just for the message that smartphones are demons that possess us. Somewhere out there, and not just in the better episodes of Black Mirror, I'm sure, are some intelligent and insightful stories to be told about our relationship to the devices that have become indispensable to our lives. But Ghoster? I'm going to say swipe left. And there you have it. That's all I've got for this episode of SFF180. You guys, remember the most important thing? These are reviews. You will not always agree with me, but if you enjoyed watching, please hit that like button. Share the video far and wide with all of your SFF reading friends, and above all, please subscribe. If you have not done so, that is how the channel grows. You can also support the channel at my TeePublic store and at my Patreon, where recruits into Wink's Army get little perks like getting to see some of my videos early. I want to thank those people for their wonderful additional support. It is extremely helpful and appreciated. I want to thank all of you guys for being the very best viewers in all of BookTube, and until I see you for the next installment of the 12 Days of Halloween, spooky reading.